the jungle, and I know I say it a lot, Sword would work great against Vox because it's very similar range, can massively outdamage him, and you've got the Lyra to portal you in onto that backline. It's going to be risky, it's not something that they're probably comfortable playing, but I really do think it would work out. Last pick for side of Elite 8, it's going to be a Samuel, so there's a lot of poke coming through. Another option would be go with this weapon Kestrel, go for Scarf Kestrel against the Vox Samuel. Works great, you have more poke than them, you have more heal, and if they go for that pick, the Kestrel, I really like the draft. I really would like the draft if they decided to go for Kestrel. As they've gone for Cruel, I have to benefit the Samuel Vox comp because they can just cut away from Cruel really well, double Vanguard or double Gauntlet to keep him away, and the Scarf isn't that much of a hyper carry that she used to be. You can't just rely entirely on Scarf's damage to win the game now.
Let us just recap and recall which patch was it that Scarf and Cruel was just dominating. I think it was like 1.17 if I remember correctly. That was when Scarf and Cruel was just a menace. They just wreaked havoc on the fold, and whichever team basically securing both of these heroes just win the game. But coming into this game, I must agree with you. Scarf is no longer that hyper carry, that very strong, reliable mage that can just burn down whole teams. But I would have much preferred a weapon Kestrel to be placed in lane and then a CP Scarf. That way you have early game poke, early game turret aggression, and you can just force down the lane so hard. But hey, I guess a Cruel will work if you can just stick on to the Samuel really, really well.
Yeah, perhaps they do want to have that Scarf in the lane. They were just thinking, what draft can we do to put trophies on this Scarf in lane? And they didn't even consider putting that Scarf into the jungle. So that may be why they decided to go for Cruel. It can work against Samuel for a similar reason that Rhyme can work against Samuel, but even more so. If Cruel's in a bush that Samuel face checks, Samuel is more than dead, especially against Cruel, because he has that Shadows Empower Me slow. He has Dead Man's Rush to keep up, even if Samuel boots is away and Cruel hasn't got boots. Apart from that, I see Samuel winning out most of the team fights. He has lots of disengage with Arden, and Lyra can't use the sigils for Cruel very aggressively because Lyra's forced to peel for Scarf, try and give Scarf the healing so that she can keep her he can keep his distance on the back line. It's going to be tough for their comp to work together because there's so much poke with Scarf, so much engage with Cruel, and Lyra is kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I think Cruel will be the front line. I don't think I'm going to die this time would actually go for the aggressive Cruel. What, the side of Nebulae can actually work out right now is basically play to the strengths of their team. You have Iron Gudai just in the front line, soaking up as much damage and just allow that of Trophies to just scale up into that of the late game. So it will fit the playstyle much, much better. And on top of that, it fits Trophy's playstyle much, much better as well. So it is just down to execution and whether or not the side of Elite 8 would actually play the aggressive game in this early, in the early part of the game. Because if Elite 8 can actually manage to push out the first turret, it will be very difficult for Trophies to just farm under and farm in lane. And even a gang is coming through from this Cruel will be much, much more difficult. So it's just down to execution. And I'm expecting a lot of aggression coming through from the side of Elite 8, especially in that of the lane with Samuel just able to poke out and clear lane alongside that of Vox and just push down the first tier turret relatively quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't expect Samuel to be aggressive in the jungle because you can't be aggressive against a Cruel as Samuel. It's not going to work out for you. But in the lane, Samuel's such a good siege hero. Yes, you're against the Lyra, but early game the healer isn't that important. And Samuel's Drifting Dark is much more important at pushing those waves in, sieging the turret down, poking down the enemy from outside of the turret range. And so that is really where the pressure has to come from Elite 8. They need minion candies, try and push the wave. Samuel constantly rotating up to lane, forcing Cruel to either be in lane or they lose their turret. And that is where Elite 8 can try and stop the Scarf from ramping up. Because you know that Nebulae want to scale to late game. Even when they had an early game comp, they wanted to scale to late game. So you know that's their strategy, and you now need to counter it.
Yep, and for Elite 8 as well, as they get into the mid-late game, Samuel, once he gets his item, it's just very strong as well. But Samuel is one of those heroes, if you can snowball against him, he is just very weak. He is pretty much just sitting dark. Whereas if Samuel just snowball against you, it will be so difficult to get a hold of him. And on top of that, just so difficult to put damage on him because the the corrupted genius perk will just keep him alive half the time. And they have the dance comp coming out from the side of Elite 8. They can just dance around, just skip by Goops and those Spitfires coming out from trophies. So I think it will be a tough fight for the side of that of Nebulae, at least in this early and into the mid, unless of course they are going to play passive, allow trophies to farm up, maybe go for the 90% pierce on that of Dragon's Breath, and hopefully it doesn't turn into Dragon Sneeze when Arden lands the gauntlet.
Yeah, we have now loaded into the Halcyon Fold. Second game, Nebulae starting up this Elder Treant so they can have a backwards rotation. It's nice, it makes Crawl's going to be able to secure it with the smite, unless Arden with the one punch does secure it, but no, it goes to I Angry You Die. And the Elder Treant start is good to get yourself slightly ahead early on, and it also tries to stop any kind of jungle invade, because unless they run straight to your jungle now, the side of Elite 8 are not going to be able to pressure the Crawl, because he's going to be at an opposite side of the jungle to the Samuel.
Yep, he will be. But in this lane itself, we might see Anime Save Me actually through with that rotation, but that will not be the case in this game. And the rotation that I'm talking about is usually Anime Save Me, while Han Jaeger and Official High and is actually just clearing the backs. What Anime Save Me will just go up into the lane and pick up 5 minions for himself. Exactly 5. And that is something that we've seen a lot coming through from the side of Elite 8. It is one of the rotations that they are very comfortable with and constantly fall back on if they are on, you know, on a losing game at least. But, you know, of course, they won the previous game, so I don't think Anime Save Me will actually do this now. And trophies, obviously we know this little dragon can clear lane very, very fast. One of the fastest lane clear coming in the game.
Yeah, so gonna make that wave equalise, so Scarf and Vox not gonna lose many minions, but behind, face check in a bush, Iron Grudite is there, he's gonna use the healing flask and get the protector contract. Vanguard is up in a second, so now they turn around, Iron Grudite forced to boots away, and this is a very aggressive Drifting Dark. Will he decide to turn? Iron Grudite is thinking, what do I do? They're going to my jungle, do I go to theirs? No, he tries to contest this. Scarf coming through, Crawl does not secure it, but Scarf does. No, Crawl gets it with the basic attack in the end. Now, I Angry You Die is trying to get an official high, but he's being very defensive, very passive. And that's a Drifting Dark trying to steal away some of Crawl's jungle or get some poke. Lovely drifting to try and get some poke and then get the backs, but the backs aren't there because Truffy's took them. Smart plays from this Scarf. He knows that Crawl was in trouble, so he just took the farm. So you cannot steal the farm away if I have taken it myself. But trying to farm up best as he can in lane. And Iron Grudite is very aggressive, stealing away one back. He will get the second, but he may fall to Samuel now. And I don't think he'll be able to get away very well. Unless he tries to turn, he's going to go and fight. Official Hein is going in. He's 3 versus 1. That's going to be an easy kill for the Samuel. Meanwhile, in lane, a little bit of pressure going to go onto the turret, but it's only an early game Scarf. Going to get that turret to half health.
Yep, and that half health will work in the side of Nebulae's favor because the next siege, or rather the next time Han Jaeger is missing in lane, Trophies can just easily push down this first tier turret, and this is something, and this is what I'm talking about. Trophies on Scarf, very comfortable hero for himself, and they have got a good siege comp. Had they just went for the Castro, but they just decided to go for that, you know, just Cruel, and basically it is just comfort pick across the board, and now Anime Save Me, taking so much damage on Scarf.
Forced to pop the healing flask for himself, working towards that fountain, and Crawl could be in trouble. He is in trouble. Nice rotation from Official Hein and Hood Jaegers down to the jungle to secure that kill. And meanwhile, Anime Save Me is in lane, making sure Trophies does not push this wave at all. He knows the problem for Elite 8's comp is if Samuel is trying to do damage to Crawl in the jungle, he needs Vox to rotate, and if Vox rotates, Trophies can get a turret. So Anime Save Me is taking the damage by himself to try and prevent that from happening, and Nebulae do want to back off. Trophies can probably pick up towards his either Shatterglass, Frostburn, Dragon's Eye, Broken Myth. What might we see on the first item for this Scarf? What are you expecting?
Well, I hope it will be that Shatterglass just for the bulk damage, followed by a Broken Myth and maybe Dragon's Eye, although I don't quite like Dragon's Eye on this dragon, ironically, actually. So maybe that of Shatterglass into Broken Myth and probably Clockwork. Oh, but we will be seeing the Dragon's Eye first. So Dragon's Eye, first item picked up on this little dragon, just to kind of match the item description.
I very much like Dragon's Eye on Scarf. I think it's great. Here we go. Going to see some stacks being built up by those basic attacks and by the Spitfire into Goop combo. And once you get full Dragon's Eye stacks, if you land your ultimate, it's going to deal loads of damage. Truffy's, though, not upgrading his ultimate. He's going for the Spitfire damage instead. Official High and drifting. This is what we wanted Elite 8 to do. It took them 5 minutes, but they are now doing it. Malice and Verdict's empowered onto the turret. Truffy's trying to defend. Meanwhile, Iron Greed Eyes having none of it. He's going towards the enemy jungle, working towards that tension bow first on Cruel. Interesting decision to go for that build as opposed to going for stacking damage, maybe a breaking point first. Official High and poking out with his Malice and Verdicts. Meanwhile, Cruel could be in a bad position. He's going to try and run away. I think he will be able to get back, but the turret is in a lot of trouble. If Hunyegis doesn't get to this lane quickly, Truffy's knows exactly what he wants to do. We're seeing Dragon's Eye into clockwork for this scarf. So much damage onto Hunyegis with those fan the flames, and now can he get the damage onto the turret? He's not going to get the fan the flames perk, but Hunyegis is taking a lot of damage. This is Scarf doing so much work. That's a goop, but he dodges it with the Sonic Zoom. Nice plays from Hunyegis. Gonna like that with the goop, and now Truffy's seeing what he can do with this fiery little dragon.
But now Fountain actually been popped by the side of Elite 8 just for keeping Han Jaeger safe, whereas the side of Nebulae, Fountain has been popped as well. So relatively similar timings just to keep the carry safe. But now we have two relatively healthy heroes for the side of Elite 8. And then for Nebulae, both trophies, the mushrooms are basically just very low, so very good time for Elite 8, to just push down this turret, because trophies and Truffless, the only ones holding onto this turret, but from Hellside.
Max range from Hellside gets the max range stun onto Save Me. He wanted the unofficial Hein, wasn't quite able to do so. It was body blocked. Oblivion not going to connect onto anyone, and Iron Greed Eye has got the tension bow proc available. This is what I said Anime Save Me needs to do. Get minion candy to pressure this Scarf in lane. It's exactly what he's done. Iron Greed Eye's taking a lot of poke, and official Hein has got the drifting up. Now, is he going to use it onto this turret? He's just going to try and poke it with those normal Malice and Verdicts. And Truffy's has got his Dragon's Breath upgraded now. Is it going to come through? Samuel's going to get the kill onto the Cruel. Nice plays. I thought Iron Greed Eye was going to be able to survive with that infusion, but it didn't come through. Hunyegis taking a bit of poke, but Protect Contract will keep him a little bit healthier. And turret does go down, so 7 minutes 20 seconds. Elite 8 managed to seize that turret for the first time.
Yep, and they are, and this game is just looking very good for the side of Elite 8. Although the side of Nebulae, they haven't been, quite too shabby with their plays. Iron Greed Eye, especially when he gets just basically got invaded. He went into the jungle of Elite 8 to just pick up farm for himself, just to get him up and healthy. Sitting now currently at 27 over to official Heinz 37. That is a big CS difference for junglers at least, but it will not phase Iron Greed Eye out that quickly, because we all know Cruel's build is generally very, very cheap, so he can work very economically. As for Iron Greed Eye, or rather Anime Save Me, face checking, taking a Spitfire to the face, and a slow coming through from Iron Greed Eye.
A little bit of poke coming through from both sides, but Nebulae do not have their turret to back to, so Elite 8 could be a bit more aggressive. Pulse doesn't connect onto anyone. Fox waiting for that to be back up. And Cruel is just not quite going to be in the fight yet. He's waiting in that top bush. Very aggressive from official Hein. That's the Q from Hellside. Doesn't connect. And so that means Nebulae going to back off. I think Elite 8 could try a sentry or a gold mine here, because they know that from Hellside is on cooldown and they have all their abilities up. Another candy picked up by Arden, and an infusion for official Hein. I think Elite 8, they don't need to get the turret here. They don't need to try and push down tier 2. Just rotate to sentry, rotate to gold mine, and force Nebulae to fight you when the Cruel ult isn't up.
Yeah, but Cruel's ultimate is just on such short cooldown as well, as compared to Arden's Gauntlet at least, but now we are seeing very aggressive players coming through from both teams.
Here we go, Gauntlet's going to come through, gets one stun, gets 2 stuns, and lovely plays from Elite 8. They managed to get the 1 kill, they get the 2 kills. I don't think they're going to get this Lyra. She manages to boots away, and they could get the turret. Yep, minions are now pushing into it. So lovely plays from Elite 8. Arden's Gauntlet on top of the Scarf. Cruel forced to walk into it, and now they could get a gold mine as well, because they know they're going to win the fight. So there's no reason for them to not just start up an objective and see what Nebulae are going to do against it, and they will start the gold mine.
Yep, I mean 22k gold over to 18.5. What can Nebulae do now? What they can do really is just turtle up and try to get to that 4-item spike that this dragon really has to have to put out any form of decent damage. And of course, we must command Elite 8. Oh, I thought that we are still coming through from Lyra, but that is just not quite the case right now. But for Scarf itself, the only reason I don't like Dragon Eye as first pickup, although it's constantly being picked up, is because Scarf now just lacks all kinds of damage, right? He needs to scale up. So as long as just collapse on Scarf, it will be difficult, very, very difficult for, Trophies to just scale up in terms of damage. So that is why I do not quite like Dragon's Eye on Scarf. For the first item pickup at least, I personally think that the Shattered Glass will work so much better into a Clockwork, and then probably the Broken Myth, and then Dragon's Eye.
The problem with that build on Scarf is that it takes you so long to get to that Dragon's Eye power spike, and maybe we're not even going to get that far into the game. It is the build that Truffy's is going might suggest he's going to go for a Frostburn next, maybe into the Shattered Glass. We're gonna have to wait and see. Cruel is Atlas. He's trying to do as much damage as he can. Gauntlet comes through, stuns up the Cruel. Oblivion. Cruel's gonna block it, but he's still inside the Gauntlet. Truffy's though building up these Dragon's Eye stacks. He's gonna be a monster if he unleashes this Dragon's Breath. He's trying to get the basic attacks on, but he's now going to lose all of his Dragon's Eye stacks. And Jaeger's taking that Spitfire to the face. And what is the call? What are Nebulae gonna do? Iron Greed Eye solo. One more Malice will secure the kill from the Samuel. And Truffy's, he lost all his Dragon's Eye stacks. He cannot do this, but maybe he's going to prove me wrong. Misses the Spitfire, trying to do as much damage as he can. Fox did fall in the end. Not quite sure how that happened, but he did die. Official Hind gets the tree in, but Truffy's trying to do what he can. 451 on the Spitfire. Next one does not connect. Empowered, Malice, and Verdict. But there's Lyra. Truffy's building up these Dragon's Eye stacks once again, but he's run out of energy. He needs to get Eve of Harvest, or he needs to get House on Charges, because this Scarf is not able to do anything without energy.
Yep, and on top of that as well, we actually saw, in that chaos, Truffy's actually managed to pick up that of Han Jaeger on that box with one stray Spitfire. Although I thought it was a miss, but I saw something flare on my screen that goes like, oh, Truffy is kind of killed Han Jaeger, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, it was a stray Spitfire that, you were actually announcing that went, just missing Han Jaeger. So I guess it's a very good, unlucky Spitfire for Truffy, securing that maybe 200 gold for himself. But like you mentioned, that Dragon's Eye, although he needs time to stack it up, but the issue with that, it's now at this point, Elite 8 is just putting so much pressure and just constantly collapsing onto that of Nebulae. It is so difficult for Truffys to just consistently keep those stacks up, and that is quite the issue right now.
Yeah, Iron Greed Eye is unable to hide in a bush to get his Shadows Empower Me perk up, because Elite 8 have got the full positioning. They've taken 2 turrets, so Nebulae don't have that many turrets they can hide in. Official Hind not going to get stunned, but there's the portal in. Cruel is nowhere near. Lyra is going in. Cruel's going away. Not the best coordination from Nebulae. Now, Iron Greed Eye looking to see if he can turn it around. Gauntlet stuns up 1, stuns up 2. There's a block onto the sleep, but it's not going to do anything. Fox, 14 breaking point stacks. He gets the double. Cruel's the last man standing, and he's going to get into the base. But Elite 8 going to get this tier 3 turret, and they are doing lane pressure correctly.
Well, they are indeed, and they are sharing the turret aggro as well, and this anchor turret will definitely fall, unless of course Iron Greed Eye have got an answer, but I don't think so. I don't think you want to go in for a 1v3. You are a god, you are the god of a 1v1 as a Cruel, not so much of a 1v3. And this dragon is just, like I mentioned, and I will constantly go back to this point, maybe Dragon's Eye is a good in general build. But in this case, when you are constantly being collapsed on, I think you want to just put out as much damage in the shortest period of time as possible. But now with Elite 8 coming back up the lane, I don't think Nebulae can push this.
Yeah, I know it saved me trying to defend this turret, and Nebulae unable to get that. And Jaeger's taking a bit of poke. Goop does land, and another Spitfire does connect. Truffy's used that healing fast. He's now built up some Dragon's Eye stacks. Great block on that from Hell's Heart. And Truffy's could decide to go in if he wants to, but no, Cruel is far too low. Goop gonna light up Jaeger's, and Cruel is in the bush. He's spotted out by the Malice. He's just running away. He's like, Elite 8, come on, chase me all the way back to your base. And Official Hind not going to catch him. He didn't quite have vision on where Iron Greed Eye went. And Iron Greed Eye will be able to port home in that bush. Lovely plays with the sneaky Cruel. But Truffy's, he had Dragon's Eye stacks. He was ready to go in, but Cruel just got too low from the poke. So there was nothing he could do. And this is going to be a free gold mine for Elite 8. The gold lead very much in their favor.
Very much. I mean, 8k gold, 14 minutes in. Maybe Lyra can steal this, maybe not, and that will not that will not be the case for the infamous Lyra Steel coming out from Truffles on this Lyra, and Kraken now up on the fold, and Elite 8 can easily just secure this Kraken. Arden has to go back to Q, however, but the side of Nebulae, they found a very good fight early on, but Iron Gudai, like you mentioned, do not quite have the tank items required to just soak up the damage for trophies at this point, and just constantly got too low for that dragon to just put out any additional damage as well. So Nebulae, I don't think it's the end of the road for them yet. They just have to rework the team fight, right? Just one good team fight, try to recollect the gold difference, try to soften the gold lead the side of Elite 8 has over you, and maybe can turn the game around, because in the previous game it was relatively even until Baron just got so fat and just got so much items.
Yeah, I do think that the gold lead being in their favour is so important. Arden not quite towards that Echo, but he's got 4 items and Truffles has only got 3. So it's not as big as sometimes we see where captains are 2 items ahead, but it's very important. Scuff, 4 damage items already. So he actually went for the Frostburn, now Broken Myth. So this is going to be a lot of shredding damage on the shield. And he's trying to get the slows because it makes it easier to land the abilities if you get that Frostburn. One poke onto Hunyegas, but Official Hein doing loads of work with his Malice and Verdicts. So Nebulae seeing what they can do. They have not got their tier 3 turret to defend to, and they're just able to do it. But Sentry going to be the focus for Elite 8. I don't quite get why Elite 8 aren't just taking the Kraken now. They know they're going to win the fight. They're 10-1 on the kill board. Hunyega's the only one to die, and so if Elite 8 take Kraken, as soon as you see them, just fight. You know you're going to win. Samuel can poke out, and it's going to be pretty simple. They have lovely vision, but no, not going to start it yet. Official Hein thinks they should, and Anime Save Me not quite going to go with him. So we might see a bit more passiveness.
Yeah, they might just be baiting this Kraken out. Hunjega landing on basic attack onto Trophies, just a sneaky one at that, and will not be able to put up any more breaking point stacks because it is just one. But Nebulae definitely knowing and can smell Helga being taken right now, tries to contest this taking, but I'm sure Elite 8 is just doing this out of bait. But Kraken is definitely started by Hunjega on the side of Elite 8. Tons of damage on Official Hein on this Samuel.
Yeah, he's going to go low. He's going to dodge out the next Spitfire, but I don't know why Anime Save Me isn't Kraken. Official Hein has taken about 3 Kraken shots for no reason. So now Juffy's seeing what he can do. He's gone for an extra heavy prism. He can get these fronts and then re-infuse. So Juffy's has so much damage on this Scarf. I don't know what that last item is going to be. It might even be a Spellfire in all honesty, because he has so much crystal power at this point. But seeing what he can do, there's going to be a Spitfire dodged out by the Sonic Zoom. Now Nebulae are going to be very passive. Iron Gudai's like, where can I go? Where can I hide? They've seen me go into this bush. They're going to flare me out. I can't be anywhere. I'm literally useless in these fights, which is why the Crawl is not a great pick over the Kestrel, but we're going to have to wait and see what Nebulae can try and do. Scarf going a bit low on energy, so I actually expect that heavy prism to go into an Eve of Harvest, because if Scarf runs out of energy, the fight is lost. So he needs that sustain of energy more than the sustain of health, but it's a nice bonus.
Well, 600 more gold for the side of Elite 8 to get that 10k gold lead, and we all say that, and we say that constantly. It is the point of no return, and it will be very difficult for the side of Nebulae. The longer they hold match out, the more difficult it will become for them. Of course, Scarf will start scaling up. Iron Gudai will just start tanking up and just be able to absorb so much damage. And we saw earlier on, with one Spitfire, one good combo, Official Hein just went down all the way to a quarter health. So that is one thing the side of Elite 8 have to realize now, that although they may have the goal lead, they may have the kill lead, but Scarf is slowly but steadily just building up onto those items needed to just...
Here we go, Gauntlet is not going to land a stun, and Vox actually gets it, and Scarf going to get bursted down. That's why you need defense items. No infusion on Trophy. He did have the harvest, but if the fight doesn't last, he doesn't need energy. I told you, Elite 8, just start the Kraken and get a fight. It took them 4.5 minutes, but in the end, Elite 8 get a Kraken, Elite 8 get an ace, and now because it took them 4 minutes, death timers are much longer. I think they might just win without the Kraken, in all honesty.
Yeah, and Elite 8 got the triple kill as well, or rather, Hunjega actually got himself a triple kill with that 20 breaking point stacks. It will be a wonder if the third kill did not go over to him. But now both Vein Crystal Turret will be targeted, will be focused on, and what's left is this Vein Crystal and Trophies and Truffles. A couple is up, but what can they do? I don't think that it's much because Kraken is jumping down the fold as well. And the second game will go over to the side of Elite 8 in a rather convincing fashion.
2-0 to Elite 8. The first game, they scaled to late game. They picked the Baron. They wanted to see how long can we keep this game until we start to team fight. In this game, they decided how quickly can we decide to team fight, and it was very early on. They got 3 turrets quickly, about 12 minutes in. Took them about 4 minutes to take the Kraken.